fathers care and raise children just as good as mothers when mothers are absent? On the next edition of Our Voices, we'll look at fathers in their roles as primary caretakers of children and how the notion that they're not innately capable of raising children alone can be revisited. We'll also look at the effect of migration on African fathers to the United States. Welcome to the conversation. Let's begin our discussion by hearing opinions from men in Nairobi, Kenya on whether fathers can raise children as good as mothers and what their thoughts are on child custody.
My take on this debate, me personally, it's tricky on the man's side because from humanity, bringing up a man is expensive, and bringing up a child at the age of 6, the child still needs a lot of attention. So for a man, it will be hectic, and that's why you'll find a lot of street children, because the time they need the father's attention, the father is out to provide for them.
Because wakati wanahitaji huyu baba ameenda kutafuta.
Fathers can be responsible but still be in the mother's life, like child support. It can really help the mother and the child.
As men who are in the world, yes, the way we were created by God, we are created to take lead. And I think the society has got this norm that men are not responsible people. The majority of men who are really responsible, who are well taken care of.
A Kenyan court recently ruled that fathers could be granted custody of children below 9 years of age instead of the children automatically going to their mothers as stipulated from a previous law. Child advocacy groups in Kenya welcomed the unprecedented ruling as a step forward for parental custody based on merit. This decision comes after the Section 8 of Children Act of 2001 said that a child under the age of 10 was to be given to the mother unless there was a good reason to do otherwise. In the next story we're about to share, a man lost the chance to raise his children after a divorce as his wife was granted automatic custody. However, she later moved abroad, leaving her children behind with her new husband, who ended up taking care of the children in her absence. Victoria Amunga reports from Nairobi.
Joel Samson, a father to 2 minors, recounts the day in December 2020 when his family broke up due to what he says were financial misunderstandings after losing his job. Samson says the mother of his 6 and 12-year-old daughters sent him out of their house and will not let him in.
My wife was working. She had a job. My job was gone with COVID. So I could not provide for my family.
An April 7th court ruling by Justice Joel Ngugi of the Nakuru Law Court said fathers can be granted custody of young children. In that case, he awarded custody to a man who had been caring for his child for 6 years while the mother lived abroad. Samson said the ruling will give fathers like him a chance to raise their children despite divorces.
Most cases in the scenario, like in our country here, most fathers are losing custody of their kids based on gender considerations.
VOA reached out by phone to the mother of Samson's children, Linda Njuki, for comment. Njuki declined to appear on camera but said, quote, "I believe in myself. I can take care of my kids." She also expressed concern that children might suffer in a case a divorced man remarries. Advocacy groups like Kenya Men Engage Alliance say the Children Act is keeping some children under the care of incapable parents.
There are so many men who are capable of doing that role and actually implementing or doing it in a way that the child will actually not feel left out or abandoned in a situation where the family has broken up.
FIDA Kenya told VOA that the best interest of a child is key in custody matters, regardless of gender.
As time immemorial, mothers have been known to be the best caregivers to the children. This may not be true in all circumstances. That's why for each and every case, it's done on merit. You see, for this particular case, every case is decided on merit. Each case is different.
Meanwhile, Joel Samson hopes the landmark ruling will help men like him change their own situation and win at least partial custody of their young children. Victoria Amunga for VOA News, Nairobi.
Thanks, Victoria. In Africa, as well as in the diaspora, it is uncommon for men to raise children as a single father of many children in one household, especially adopted children of a different race. In our next report, Peter Mutabasi, a Ugandan immigrant, is a foster father living in Charlotte, North Carolina, striving to bring out the best in youth who, like him, have experienced neglect, abuse, and rejection. VOA's Betty Ayub and Carol Gunsberg report.
Yeah? Okay, can you put the cup down? Do you want a cookie?
No. Yes.
My name is Peter Mutabasi, born in Uganda. I'm a dad of 4, and I live here in Charlotte, North Carolina. My dream was to be a dad. Like, I always wanted to be a dad. And I think at 25, it didn't happen. At 30, it didn't happen. At 35, it didn't happen. So at 40, I was like, you know what? I can be dad, and I don't have to be the traditional dad. So I became a foster parent in the state of Oklahoma. And I don't think they had any single men wanting to be foster parents. So my first kid was white, and I was shocked, like, wait a minute. The kid doesn't look like me, you know. Little did I know, just when it comes to abuse, when it comes to neglect, kids are affected the same way. And so that really opened for me to know, like, hey, I'm here to advocate for every child.
That say my name and Cole's name, and this only say my name.
Being a biracial family, it's really cool to see and to change the narratives that, yes, they don't look like me, but they are my family.
So the day I met Peter, I walked into his house and I was pretty hungry, so I went into the kitchen. I grabbed some Pop-Tarts, I think. Yeah, it was Pop-Tarts. And then I said, can I call him Dad? And he said, no, not for now. And I said, okay, Dad. So
He knew I'll be his dad before I even thought about it, before I even got there. My Anthony, my son, he was adopted for 9 years, and the family that had adopted him had dropped him at the hospital, and they had gone to the county to sign off their parental rights. And I think once I had that story, I think it went back to my time as a 10, 11-year-old, that you had nowhere to go, that you're helpless, unwanted, not knowing what your future is. And there was a kid in front of me who just reminded me of myself. You know, 2 years later, I was able to adopt him as my son.
If you ever meet Peter, one of the first things you know is how loving, kind, genuine, and what a heart he has for less privileged, for kids from hard places, for making a difference for these kids and making a difference in their lives. And he'll tell you part of his story because someone made a difference in his life.
This is me. I don't know. I look like I had not eaten for days. You know, grew up really poor. It wasn't just my family that was poor, but everyone around me was poor. You know, life was just miserable. And my dad, he was just abusive, verbally, physically, and in any shape, form you could think of. So at the age of 10, I decided that, look, life is so miserable here. I would rather die in the hands of someone else than die in the hands of my own dad. So I went to the bus station and I asked the lady, hey, which bus goes the farthest, you know? And I ended up in Kampala, and I didn't know where I was going, but in some way I was just running away from the misery at home. This is my favorite picture. This is my foster parents, so my mom and my dad. As street kids, we knew how to survive. We knew how to steal food. So when I saw this man, I think I wanted to steal food from him. I wanted to take something, you know? So when I tried to get food from him, I was like, hey, what's your name? You know, no one had ever asked my name, but he stopped to ask me, what's your name? And give me food. For the very first time, someone saw the best in me that nobody had seen in me, that he saw potential at my lowest. He saw a human being, sometimes where I didn't feel I was human to the same level as everyone else, that he saw a kid who had a potential, that he was willing to say, you know what, I want to invest in you. I want to do something for you. And that's what changed my life.
my dad's story really helps me to connect with him better because I was able to connect with him on what we had both gone through, and I realized that me and him, we've both gone through a lot. So that really helps me to connect with him.
But as much as I'm helping them through their trauma, that they are helping me through my own trauma. So that's a joy, that it's not always me giving, but also benefiting as a dad, and they teach me so much about myself as well.
The remarkable story of Peter from where he came from is that he stepped out and said, I'm going to change this life. And then now he's going to change another and another. And what's really going to be remarkable is all those kids that he's touched, they're going to go out and change other people's lives. And so the impact of one is going to be spread out over the years. It's going to be amazing.
It's time for a break. When we return, my co-host and I speak to Professor Zachary Nchinda, a member of the Department of Africology at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, who said that immigration and a new life in the United States is forcing African immigrant fathers to confront the traditional patriarchal gender roles that they had been accustomed to on the continent. Stay with us.
Empowerment and humanity towards a better world.
Economic and social progress of every society.
Facts and information from key players rather than spectators in politics, business, science and technology.
City, rural, educated or underprivileged. We care and we listen to what matters to you.
Your voices are our voices.
Welcome back. You're watching Our Voices. Today we're discussing the role of fathers as primary caretakers of children. Professor Zachary Nchinda of the Africology Department at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee tells us about the struggles of immigrant fathers in the United States. Many are being forced to modify the gender division of labor structure they had been accustomed to in Africa, including cooking, cleaning, laundry, and shopping. My co-host and I wanted to know more about the experiences of some of these immigrant fathers and what can be done to help them cope. Professor Nchinda, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. This is a very unique and very pertinent topic that we're talking about today, and we're so happy to have you to talk to us about it. What interested you in writing on this particular issue, this very unique publication?
Now, what pushed me very much to write on that topic is a personal experience also, because I immigrated from Cameroon, coming to the United States. And my wife came here first before me, though we arranged in terms of coming. She came here before me. And the first day I went to the embassy, they told me, hey, you know, you are going to the US like that. Know very well that you will not be able to work for some time. We already had 2 kids, a girl and a boy. I said, yes, I understand. So from the first day I entered here, that was the that was the dilemma I found myself in. I navigated it very, very well. So in course of bringing up my own kids, they are now adults, I had to sit down to look at and mixing up with other African parents. I had to mix up and say that, gee, there is something here. Let me really look at what does it mean for an African father to be at home, to take care of kids. What does it mean? There's more to it than that. So I was inspired then to see how far I could talk to other colleagues to find out what are their own experiences. And it's through their own experiences and based on mine, I said, okay, let me open that door out in terms of putting out that article. Maybe it will inside generate some thinking among African men who decide to migrate and what they could be able also to do for their kids.
Definitely. We'll let my co-host chime in as well. Lily, what do you think?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. How did you react when you first found that you had to stay at home and take care of children because your wife had to work? How do African men and husbands take when this happens?
The first general feeling we do have is that of resentment and anger. Anger and resentment in the sense that we African men, before moving away from Africa and coming here, we come along with the culture, the traditions that we already have within Africa. So we come along with it. We don't leave it behind. We come along with it here in the foreign land. And coming with that traditional aspect of it and with that traditional mentality, it's difficult sometimes for you to realize that, hey, no, in this new country where you find yourself, that tradition, that mentality may not hold. You may be forced to remove that layer of that tradition and start thinking afresh. Once the African parent, once you have an open mind enough for which you accept that responsibility that here we have to be able to raise up our kids. And it means I have to understand the society and to raise up the kids to the best that I can, and for these kids to be better than what I am. Then it now calls for you to embrace the challenges. As I highlighted in my own article, for example, area of childcare. Everybody looks at it, childcare is not easy at all to resolve that issue of childcare. And for childcare, you know very well that here in the United States, it's very expensive to put kids in childcare. Then the division of labor in the household, as I said, division of labor is not also easy. Your wife has been working the whole day, maybe 2 or 3 jobs. She comes back home, she's already tired. You want her to go back to the kitchen there to make food for the kids? It's not easy to resolve some of those issues. Or how do you communicate with the kids? So all of those issues that I raised up in my article, they are right there and they are doable.
Obviously, it's a wrestle, it's a struggle the men have between embracing the new responsibilities and their new role, or in some clearly rejecting it. But I'm wondering, what about the relationship with the children, the relationship with the spouse? Do you find that that's the benefit that men are starting to appreciate, that the more involved they are in their children's upkeep and just daily responsibility, that they actually form a stronger bond?
Oh, yes. Yes. You find those who accept that responsibility and want to coexist then and make sure things work. And for that group that wants things to work, they are bound to negotiate with their wives. The negotiation may take whatever form it is, but it's a negotiation between both of them for the smooth running of the household as such. That one is a given. There again, it now forces the husband, the man, to drop aside the machismo attitude that they have and believing that they are the strongest person. They must do this. No, they are forced to mellow those aspects now a bit.
Maybe if you have any advice for new fathers coming to the United States and face, this new culture, new law, and new parenting.
I have lots to say about that one. First, I would say, if you are coming here with the United States, have your mind as open as possible. Just leave your mind broad. And know that as you are moving in here, you are ready to exploit to the best of your ability what this host country has to offer. Secondly, I will also remind them that if you want to make it, if you want to achieve, if you want to gain what you came here for, because already you are not in your country again, you have left that one. You are here in a new land. And if you want to be able to make it, you should try as much as possible to understand the positive intricacies of that society. What are the positive aspects of it? Because there are so many negative things out there. Yes, let them be there, but I'm not interested. What are those positive aspects that I can be able to grasp and help me to move ahead? So you focus within that aspect of it. Thirdly, also, I would say you are living here now. I'm not in Cameroon. I'm here now in the United States. I'm here with my wife. I'm here with my kids. How can I be able to exist now and prepare towards tomorrow, so that tomorrow should be better than today?
Such a wonderful discussion. Now, in his publication, Professor Nchinda also notes that African fathers, knowing both cultures, African and American, can now tap into both of their positive aspects to be more involved in the lives of their children. It's time for another break, but first, please share your thoughts on this topic on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle is at VOA Our Voices. We are also on WhatsApp. Our number is right there on your screen. When we come back, in the Your Voice segment, I'll share with you what some of my colleagues who are fathers say fatherhood means to them. In the Uncommon Voices, we are reminded of a father-daughter story that sung their way through the COVID-19 pandemic. That's coming up next.
On VOA Our Voices, women are using their voices to empower,
to nurture,
to educate,
to stand up in any language. Amajikwi yachu.
Dimsachin.
Murioyamu,
Mazwi Edu.
Our Voices.
Welcome back. You're watching Our Voices. Men view the importance of fatherhood in different ways. Here's some of what my colleagues who are fathers think is important.
For me, I came to appreciate that fatherhood is all about creating a safe space for my child. I have 3 sons, so in this case for my 3 sons. And what that means, the safe space here is about having them know so deeply that they're loved, that they have a place they can come to share the most intimate feelings, their most intimate concerns of life, and knowing that there's somebody who listens to them, somebody who will be there for them, whatever happens, whatever the circumstances of their lives. And that helps them to know that they're not alone in this world, regardless of what they may face elsewhere. They have a father who loves and cares for them, and I believe that helps them to become better human beings, and in the future, better husbands and fathers.
I will define the fatherhood as really being there for your family, being there for your kids, your children. That means spending good time, like quiet time with them. So based on my experience, what I did was like making sure I attend all the after school activities. I remember even being one of the coaches who had chance to coach one of his own kids. I coached actually both of my sons. I coached them for at least a couple of years. That kind of relationship, it was very important to me. It was very important to them because to me, I would say it made our relationship stronger than it was where each time we had to deal with all issues, either dining table or the breakfast table. I value a lot the quality time because that's how you really gain the trust of your kids, of your children.
Any family, as a father, you're the head of the family. And your wife, of course, is the heart of the family. So as a head, you got to provide. I have to be a provider for this family. And I believe as a father, that's the primary objective, primary reason I am existing and I want to be there for my family is to provide. But I also want to be there to protect. I'm a father figure, I have to be a father figure. When they need anything, they'll come to their father. The children will come to me and ask. They can go to their mom as well, but I want to be there as a father. And this is a privilege of having children. So once you have them, it's precious. It changes everything. And it has changed me to be the better father I've ever thought of. So I want to be the best I can be to protect, to love, and care.
Now, during South Africa's COVID-19 lockdowns, the then 11-year-old Emma Jean Gilliard and her father Adrian began posting their singing online to pass the time. Their singing went viral as the video gained attention in Britain after they were mistaken for being relatives of Italian opera singer Adrienne Bocelli. Their singing shows a beautiful bond between a father and a daughter. Let's watch.
During South Africa's COVID-19 lockdown, 11 years old Emma Jean Galliard and her 46-year-old father Adrian began posting their singing online to pass the time. They recorded duets performed by Italian opera singer Andrea Bocelli with British soprano Sarah Brightman and Canada's Celine Dion.
We thought we would let out this amazing song called The Prayer, and it just went viral, and we didn't actually expect any of it, and it was a really big surprise, and we really loved it.
The video was picked up by the British website The Music Man and watched by millions.
Within 2 weeks, it received over 7 million views. It's a really good video, so we wrote an article about it on themusicman.uk, which is our website. And then quickly we started seeing people coming from Google, coming from Instagram, coming from Twitter, sharing and leaving comments about how good they are and the song and how much they love it.
And the hits kept coming after one of the duo's online videos was picked up in South America.
It was astounding. It was absolutely crazy because, we put these songs out and we, in the hope that people enjoy them, and a lot of people really do, but to get those numbers, we got those numbers within a few days. So it was, within a few days we'd had 16 million views. So it's quite surreal, the whole experience, because you don't see yourself as doing anything different, and yet suddenly you've got these fans and comments, thousands and thousands of comments from people all over the world.
But much of the fame came from a Colombian Facebook page, which claimed wrongly that they were opera singer Bocelli's son and granddaughter. The mistake brought welcome attention to the duo's singing back home in South Africa.
Adrian and Immigrant were mistakenly identified as relatives of a very famous Italian opera singer. And I think it's funny, but at the same time, it's testament to just how good they are, and it's such a compliment.
Despite the global attention, the duo have yet to benefit financially. They hope to one day secure a record deal, but meanwhile, the father and daughter team will continue to post their talent online from the comfort of their home. Franco Puglisi for VOA News, Johannesburg.
And that's our show for this week. Special thanks to Professor Nchinda of the Department of Africology at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee for being with us today. On behalf of my co-host here on Our Voices and on behalf of Voice of America, I'm Oriani Tangishaka. Thanks for watching. Good day.